So welcome to the next edition of the Royal Court Report. I'm Tom Prince. I'm joined by Centercourt Chad Andrews. Boy, we got another great episode here to talk about. Lots of basketball going on.
How about it? Coming off of the best weekend of NFL football I ever watched, and
it really was. Best games I've ever seen. And no skin in the game on any of them.
No, there was no skin in the game. Very disappointing Sunday, obviously, but what a weekend of NFL football, and now we're right back into the high school scene, right where I like to be.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do is to give everybody, first of all, a couple of things we want to talk about. We have a new studio in place that's here that you can see here. Frank Wolf just been doing an absolute fantastic job, really taking things to another level. This is going to get more and more as you're going to see the studio take place. And for those schools out there, listen, we want you in here, right? So we want varsity letters, we want hats, we want different things because we want to decorate the studio so you can get an opportunity to have your team showcase that's out here. And we really want to make sure that we get everything we can from all the schools.
It's like we were talking on the phone today, and one of the last things I said before we hung up was, help me, help you.
Yeah, exactly.
We're referring to schools that start Twitter accounts and are good at getting us information, and it's a big part of it.
Yeah, it really
a lot of
is.
the teams we talk about do a good job of getting information to us, getting information on the website, and that helps us help you.
Absolutely. Contact us. I mean, really, if you want us to recognize something, contact us. Very rarely have I ever said no when I'm going to go about recognizing a kid.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless it's been something that is just so minute it doesn't make sense. But listen, this is about, we're here to recognize as many players as we can. And we do it from week to week. And I'll tell you, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the birthday boy. And I'm going to tell you, right, so make sure, if you haven't already, wish Frank Wolf a happy birthday. Today is his birthday, and again, he's just done so much for Western New York athletics and high school sports that we really want to make sure we recognize him. And,
yeah, for sure. Turning 70 is a big deal. And, got to acknowledge Frank.
That's awesome.
Please.
So we're going to get right into it with our first segment. So we're going to get into the games that we both were either both at together or that one of us were actually at during the week. The first game we're going to start off with is one that we kick off here is going to be the Health Sciences versus Nichols game, which was a great game.
Yeah, last week we recorded a day late, so we recorded on Wednesday, and I was here in the studio, left here, and went to Nichols and watched the Nichols Health Sciences game. And it was one that I billed as exactly what it was. The #1 defensive team in Western New York, Health Sciences, came in holding opponents to an average of just under 40 points a game. And then you had Nichols, who was leading Western New York in scoring over 80. So you had that battle of wills. And we quickly found out that it was Health Sciences night. They were almost dominant in the way that they played the game. They got the game played at their pace, and they took advantage of their strengths, and that being the ability to get the ball inside and score inside, along with the way that they defended. They're so good at collapsing the lane, but then recovering when you send it out. It's like there's not a lot of open shots when you're playing Health Sciences, and chemistry seems to be coming together very well. They got out to 10-point lead, I believe, after one quarter, and Nichols never was able to make that run that we've seen them make so many times this year, and that's really a testament to the way Health Sciences played that night. Tyreek Hopkins had a big day for him. I think he had a game-high 21 in that game. In the second half, they just started looking to him in the paint, and he started delivering bucket after bucket after bucket. Another nice performance from Kyle Staten in that one, but really everyone from Health took a turn contributing that night. They came in the game. An impressive performance by them.
Listen, you know what Ty Parker's doing right now, and he's getting ready for that sectional run is what he wants. And he's preparing that team by playing some of the best teams here in Western New York and just proving that he's fearless on who he plays. He really is.
Yeah, no, for sure. And he had the Bentons, Curran and Xavier Benton, who were both back on that team this year and had key minutes for him all year last year, but 3 new faces showed up at Health this year: Jimmy Green, Kyle State, and Tyreek Hopkins, all coming from different places. And it takes a little while for chemistry to gel, and we've seen that, and their lower offensive outputs, especially back over break, when they lost at the St. Francis tournament. It's part of it is the style they play, and part of it is just chemistry, having to gel and figuring out, your identity and how we're going to do it at both ends, and it seems to be coming along pretty well for them right now.
Listen, no doubt the A division is on notice right now with health sciences.
Yeah, well, and like I had health sciences ranked number 1 in my preseason rankings, just based on the talent on paper that I saw coming in, and then a couple losses, and they slide down appropriately so, with losses to Francis and Joe's. You got to put them behind Francis and Joe's. We haven't seen anything to change that yet, but they are coming along, and they're starting to look like that team that I had pegged. And next week they got a pretty interesting non-league matchup coming against Canisius next Thursday night. So we'll see. They're gonna take a swing at the big dog from the Monsignor Martin and try and show where they belong.
Oh, listen,
a lot of good games coming.
Oh, there's no doubt, and that's going to be a fun one to watch. So the next game we're going to go down to the South Towns, right? And the team that has been playing real well, that may be, I don't want to say flying under the radar right there, but really has taken notice, is playing some great basketball down in the South Towns, but it's Westfield and Panama, that game.
Yeah, so far south that it's almost a Pennsylvania. So I hopped on the thruway Thursday night and took the long trek to Westfield. And first time ever in that gym, I got a buddy, Andrew Webster, who I've gotten to know over the years from Westfield. He's a rec director in Westfield and used to be a basketball coach there. He coaches soccer. So I got to chat with him. I got to meet their head coach, Nolan Swanson, and both of his sons play on that team, and they are the leaders of that team. Darian Swanson and Carson Swanson, a senior and a freshman. So they play Panama, who Panama comes in and starts 3 freshmen. And 2 of the names on there, Barmore and Hinsdale. Alex Barmore and Bryce Hinsdale. And then Carter Brinks, the other freshman they start. I left there super impressed with Panama, really. The way that they played with 3 freshmen, the intensity, the game moxie that they showed. Westfield was down at halftime, came back, ended up winning the game. They overwhelmed them with some pressure in the third quarter. Darian Swanson, the best player on the floor that I saw, although his brother Carson is going to be a heck of a player coming up. They also have another player, Cole Holland, who is just energy, like an athlete that's just out there making a difference for them.
Think about that, 4 freshmen on the court to start.
We have 4 freshmen in the starting lineup between the 2 teams that came out, and there's another freshman that's getting minutes down there at Panama. So the future very bright for Panama, but Westfield keeps their record at just 1 loss. Still the only loss on the season to Olean. They came back and won. We'll talk a little later about another result over the weekend from Westfield, but I really liked seeing the chemistry between the coach and the senior and the freshman on Westfield, and watching that whole dynamic. They're going to be a tough out in Section 6 Class D for sure.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. And that game that Westfield Pitt every year is a great game. Like, it's one of those games you circle on the calendar.
Right. Were you there?
Yes, we're down there, yep.
There was the game at Westfield.
Yep.
Or at Panama.
At Panama, yep.
And that was when Cam Barmore was still down there swinging on rims.
And Westfield won that one, too.
Yes.
When we were down there, yeah?
Yes, yeah. The game ended with Cam Barmore throwing up a heave from half court at the buzzer that rimmed out.
Yep.
So won the game.
So great rivalry down there.
Yeah.
You're going to see it's just going to be a rivalry for absolutely at least the next 4 years with all the freshmen that we're out there talking about. So the next game we're going to go back to the Monsignor Martin division as St. Joe's took on Nichols.
Yeah, I swear I don't always go to Nichols games, but they're pretty good, and they're awful fun to watch this year. And a nice double dip setup for me on Friday. That St. Joe's Nichols game got moved to 4 p.m. So where I started out looking, saying, all right, I got to choose between St. Joe's at Nichols and Timon at St. Francis, and I shouldn't have to make these decisions. And then, the basketball gods said, fine. They moved the Joe's game at Nichols to 4 p.m., so I was able to catch that. Man, Nichols comes out in that one, and I tweeted like it's like Health Sciences kicked a hornet's nest on the way out because Nichols was mad when that game started. They were coming, they were making shot after shot, playing defense. They took a 20-point lead. They got up 35-15 on St. Joe's in the first half, and it looked like they were just going to run away with the game. It was their day when the game started. Joe's got the game back to within maybe 13 points at halftime, 13-14 at the break, and then in the second half, Joe's makes their run, starts coming back, and I'm watching it. If the game starts, it's got the Marauder Rowdies set up right behind the Nichols bench, and I thought, oh, let's see how this goes. Coach Bradshaw at Nichols can get animated, he can be a show sometimes, and so they were behind him. In the second half, Joe's is getting bucket after bucket just by making a stop and beating Nichols down the floor and scoring. And Bradshaw's yelling, "Why? Why?" And he's saying, "Why? Why are we letting them beat us down the floor?"
Right.
It's an effort thing. Like, get back. And so I did hear the Rowdies one time yell out, "Why?" and back at him. But then they ended up moving down to the other end of the gym. Justin Glover in that game, the most consistent player for 4 quarters. He ends up finishing with 31 points in the win, and he also hit a 3-pointer in that one that I believe tied the game, completed the comeback for St. Joe's, and that 3-pointer put him over 1,000 points for his career. So a nice day for him, a nice way to get your career 1,000 and a game-high 31-point performance and a nice 20-point comeback win. For St. Joe's, it was 2 big wins last week. They won at St. Francis and then at Nichols. And in a No Nights Off Monsignor Martin League, when you're picking up quality road wins, you got to be pretty happy with yourself.
Yeah, no doubt.
And a tough week for Nichols, taking 2 home losses, but they were.
But also playing the big guys now, right?
They're playing A schools and highly regarded A schools. They're coming off of a lot of good wins, and you're not going to expect that train just rolls through seamlessly. Everyone's going to take their lumps in this league, and it was Nichols' week to take a couple, but sometimes a team that's riding that high needs a little bit of humble pie, and hopefully they got that, and I would expect Nichols to be just fine, as the season rolls on. They're outstanding.
No doubt. So the next game, which is, like you said, worked out, right? The guys worked it out for you, which we broadcasted at the same times, was Timon versus St. Francis.
Yeah, and what a game that was for 3 quarters. For 3 quarters, back and forth, lead changes. It's St. Francis's game, then it's Timon's game. Then in the 3rd quarter, they just sat there like heavyweights and just punched each other in the face. Bang, bang, bang. I believe it was a tie quarter, like a 24-24 3rd quarter, because Timon had a 2-point lead at halftime. They still had a 2-point lead after 3 quarters. And then in the 4th quarter, they just erupted, and it became the Kevin Thompson show. And it was interesting. I'm sitting on the stage, and a couple seats down from me was Kevin's dad, who was filming the game. And he looked over at me toward the end of the 3rd quarter and said something to me about Kevin, nothing aggressive, just pointing out how well Kevin defends at both ends, and just kind of joked with me about that. Mentioned Kevin, and then I was like, man, his ears must be ringing when you say his name, because he took that game over in the 4th quarter. Had 4 3-pointers in the 4th quarter, had 6 threes in the game, had a couple big blocks to start the 4th quarter, which that always just seems to spur momentum. A big play at one end, then you come down and hit a 3, and the place starts to erupt. And the militia, Timon Militia, that's their student section. They were so well represented at that game at St. Francis. I think they had more fans than the Red Raiders had, as far as the student section. They were loud and proud, and once the juices got flowing in the 4th quarter, there was no stopping the Timon train. They were awesome that night.
Wow. So then we're going to go into 2 of the games that I actually was able to broadcast. Yeah. The first one being the CSAT versus Niagara-Wheatfield, the battle in the Niagara-Orleans division, as right now Niagara-Wheatfield trying to go after one of their first titles in that Niagara-Orleans division.
Niagara Frontier League.
I'm sorry, I apologize. The NFL division, I apologize. Not Niagara-Orleans, the NFL, the Niagara Frontier League. So what a matchup this was. So this is what was, I thought, really liked the adjustments Niagara-Wheatfield made. So you know their two guards, Xander Fletcher as well as TJ Robinson, right? They're their two big dogs. They're their scorers out there. But you see them probably score as much from the three as you do from what they do drive. You know what I mean? Like, they've got a good complement where they go both ways.
Yeah.
Early in this game, this was about them attacking the rim. And you saw, it wasn't three-point line. They didn't really start even shooting threes until the second half. This was about attacking the rim, going to the aggressive to the rim, and making sure they found their lanes and capitalized on it. It started with Robinson, who attacked it, and then you saw actually Parker make the switch, come over to Robinson. So what happens? There goes Xander into the paint, right, and starts doing the same exact thing as he attacks. It looked like Niagara Wheatfield was going to run away with it, and then all of a sudden, here comes the run by CSAT, and you know it, right, led by Nate Parker of CSAT. Got a chance, if you haven't seen, take a look at his highlight reel, because he's a kid who can really score. A fun kid to watch, really is. And they came rearing back CSAT, and then you saw Niagara Wheatfield defense all of a sudden clamp down and then take the lead for the rest of the way, and didn't look back from there. It was a good game to watch.
In the second half, you said that they started off by attacking. Did it open up the three-point line in the second half for Niagara Wheatfield?
No, I wouldn't say. I mean, because of them attacking in, and then you're saying is kind of did the zone collapse in?
So much penetration.
You know, no, I'm not going to say that was necessarily the reason for it. It just happened to be that because I felt that even when they were driving early on, there were still guys that were open up there. It just, the way they were finishing at the rim was just, they saw lanes just open up for them and read them beautifully as far as the way they did attack the rim the way they should have.
Yeah, we're finding out that Niagara Wheatfield is maybe better than everyone thought. They're winning. It's consistent. Yeah. They're still undefeated in that league. They're doing it in a variety of ways. So
there's someone I also want to give a lot of credit to, because I do believe he was one of the reasons for this attack, and that was Wyatt Cooper. For Niagara Wheatfield, their center down low.
Yeah.
Because what happened was CSAT would double and triple him in the paint. So when something would come down in the paint, or there would be some sort of, like, they're trying to set up to get down to him, you'd see the collapse happen to double and triple teams. So if you're going to double, triple team somebody on one side of the paint, guess what happens? There's the opening, right? And that's what they took. Say that again?
Is Cooper making the pass?
No, in some cases the collapse would happen, which opened up the lane before they even had to go down there in some cases, right? Or it was a pass that came out back to the top, and then here came the penetration right down. I just thought the two guards, TJ and Xander, did a fabulous job of seeing those openings, finding those lanes, finding those shots, and I do believe Cooper deserves some of the credit right there for the attention he drew.
I'm glad you mentioned Cooper. He's a big part of the success that's going on at Niagara Wheatfield, and we talked about him last week. I think 16 points and 15 rebounds in the win they had at Niagara Falls. So everyone knows those two household names, TJ Robinson, Xander Fletcher. Nice to see Wyatt Cooper coming in as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Very, very big right there. So I leave that game, and last night I get a chance to go to Sweet Home for Sweet Home Iroquois. Very interesting matchup, because there were so many stories to tell in this game, right? Of course, the first one, which you can't go without mentioning, was Trey Kleitz now breaks the school record as the all-time scoring leader for Iroquois. Needed 20 to do it. Did it with, I think it was about 5 or 7 minutes into the third quarters when he did it. On a breakaway layup is what he ends up getting right there for the school record. They Sweet Home class act, right? Announced it over the loudspeaker. His dad, the coach, as we know, Todd out there, calls timeout. They present him with a ball. I even was able to come out and take a quick picture, and then Trey comes over with the ball to the former all-time leading scorer at Iroquois, hands him the ball, hugs him, shakes his hand.
He said, "I might be a step above the rest now." But
nice pun. So, it really was a nice little thing that was done for Trey, and you don't see a lot of that on the road, and I want to give Sweet Home a huge props to that. Then we get to the game. So there was something that was very key in this game that unfortunately Iroquois was missing. And that was one of their top scorers, Nick McGavero.
Oh, well,
So
that's gonna make a huge
that is 18 points per game that's not there that Iroquois had to find a way to make up. And when you looked at it early in this game, Trey Kleitz was one of only 3 scorers in the first half. And remember, he had 16. Very tight game early on, and it was almost all the points. I want to say there was 25, so it was only 9 points that came from outside of Trey Kleitz. But that's really where it stood. So then it was Sweet Home trying to really make sure that they stepped up and needed to do what needed to be done to win that game, and you got to give them credit. Started out a little bit slow, but I really believe did a great job. And they were led by Josh Kaczynski. Okay, this is probably, when you look at their stat sheets, is their number 4 scorer. Right? But this is what happened really well, was you knew Sweet Home had a height advantage over Iroquois. That was absolutely evident. So when it got kicked down right there, guess who was out there hitting the streets today? And that was Josh. He comes up big, has a big steal for 1-2, but ultimately all his points come from three-point land. What a great job he does. Steps up for his team. His coach has been telling him, I know you can do this. I know you can play with this role. This kid's got everything there is. And he goes out and proves it, especially when the lights are on and you're getting filmed in a game. He gets his chance to step up big. And then the kid that we're gonna hear about more and more is Nakai Harris. This kid's a freshman right now, and he had the tall tale task of guarding also Trey Kleitz. So he's trying to score and guard possibly one of the best players here in Western New York. Right? So you've got to give this kid credit, because his job, he wasn't going to completely stop Trey, right? We knew that. But slow him down a little bit, right? Just slow him down so that your other players can make the stops, because there had to be another player in that Iroquois team that had to step up and make the stop. And unfortunately, that was the difference in the game. There wasn't that second score. You saw guys, coming close to stepping up. McGoldrick, scored a couple. Justice, as we know, came up big. There were a couple drives he looked fantastic on. They just didn't have enough of that other scoring, though, that was out there.
Yeah, that's a great experience for a freshman to guard a senior like Trey and get his reps in that way and have some success with it. So that'll be a big step for them moving forward. And Sweet Home, they're in that league with ECIC 2 with Amherst and Williamsville East, who are tied for first place in there. But Sweet Home quietly taking care of business, sitting there in second place and collecting wins, and another good one over Iroquois. No,
they've got a solid team. They're going to be somebody we're going to be talking about. And if they get a 4 score like this now stepping up, watch out, they could really be dangerous.
And Sweet Home's part of a very crowded class in Class A1 when we get to section time.
So really that's it right now for our segment 1. The next segment we're going to talk about were scores that we want to really talk about. They were obviously big game scores that we really wanted to bring to light for everybody, and we'll go over those in the next segment. And then we're also going to go over what are the top games this week that are out there to let everybody know what we're going to be having our radar on, especially for next week's show. So I want to say thank you so much for joining us so far. That's segment 1. Take a listen to our sponsors right here, but I'm Tom Prince, joined by Centercourt and Chad Andrews. Thank you so much for joining us.
There's nothing better than owning the perfect house to come home to. You've earned it, and we'll make it happen. Our local real estate experts and in-house team of financial professionals make buying or selling your home simple. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
I love being home.
The most prepared moms experience the unexpected. When you do, we're here for you. Western New York Immediate Care provides quick, quality care for non-emergent injuries and illnesses. Go to wnyImmediatecare.com for more information.
We are back right here for segment 2 with the Royal Court Report. I'm Tom Prince, joined by Chad Andrews. So we're going to get into some of the games that Chad kind of pointed out. These were the interesting scores that we really wanted to just talk about and see that kind of got reported. That kind of raise an eyebrow is ultimately what they did.
Yeah, I can't be everywhere every night, even though I want to be. But you go back through and you look at scores, which is always a highlight of an evening too, is to just check on results, check on box scores and things. And one caught my eye was Frontier with a 2-point win over Lancaster. Two teams that are very close in the standings and the league, competitive. It's a game I would have liked to see. I heard it was a slugfest. Some people describe it as ugly, but anytime you got a 2-point game where two teams are battling, those are fun games to watch.
Well, and Lancaster is known right now for their defense, right?
Yeah.
They are a very good defensive team, there's no doubt about it. And when they have an opportunity where they get refs that'll let them play a little bit, it'll get physical.
Yeah.
It will get physical. And listen, if the refs are going to let you play it, absolutely, I'm going to do what the refs are going to let me to do, or allow me to do out there. And they do a very good job when it comes to a physical game. And if they get into a physical game with anybody in that AA, I'm telling you, they're going to be tough out. I said this already before, watch out, really.
They played in the infamous 35-28 game with Health Sciences earlier.
Right. So there you go. Two teams that obviously are known for defense right there. So you can see, that's a game that they want to make sure they get into.
Medina from the Niagara Orleans League, I believe they have won 5 of the last 6 league championships, and they seem to have a stranglehold on things down there. But we got to give a big shout out to Roy Hart, who came through with a 16-point win against Medina last week. That's a big win.
Oh, no doubt that's a big one. And a rivalry game to boot, right?
Right.
You can sit here and look at it. That's a rivalry out there.
Well, those teams have all been in the same league competing against each other for so long that they know each other so well. And, any coach in the NL will tell you, it's always a good night if you beat Medina.
Yep. No, 100%. So the other game that was that kind of raised an eyebrow, Southwestern and Fredonia.
Yeah, Southwestern Fredonia, that's a game on paper that I thought would be a very competitive one, and that's exactly what it turned out to be. Southwestern comes away with a 2-point win over the Hillbillies, and kind of keeps them at that spot in the league where they still have a chance if they can go on a little run, but they're going to need some help from some other teams. But a good game, a good competitive game to see, one I wish I could have seen. Salamanca takes down Allegheny Limestone by 22 points. And Allegheny Limestone's a team, they're still getting votes in the small school poll. I've seen Allegheny Limestone, they're a very good small school team, and Salamanca to come through with a 22-point win, right?
Defense.
Points.
That's what it was. We got a chance to see that defense, and we knew it was legit when we saw it live versus Randolph.
Yeah. Another one that caught my eye was Global Concepts picking up a nice win over Tapestry. And that's they haven't had a lot of wins this year. Tapestry's had a couple significant ones. Tapestry's been a top 10 small school team this year, so Global Concepts going in and picking up a win over Tapestry, definitely worth mentioning.
So another game which was big, which was an out-of-conference game, but we're going to go back to the Monsignor Martin division, and that is Canisius taking on Aquinas for the second time.
Yeah, Canisius loses to Aquinas again. They went out to Aquinas earlier in the year, played them, lost to them. Kyle Husband told me that he thought Canisius was one of the best teams he had seen, between here and Buffalo, or between here and Rochester. So he thought highly of them coming in. Now Aquinas has taken a loss to McQuaid, who St. Francis beat, so, everybody's kind of close with each other, but it's the rematch. It's at Delaware Avenue on Saturday. Aquinas still comes in and picks up another win, so they sweep the season series with Canisius. And that's the kind of stuff that I think the rest of the teams in the Monsignor Martin League, it kind of burns them a little bit, because they're like, no, I want Canisius to win that game and feel real good about themselves so I can come in and clip them, because now St. Francis has the unenviable task of, we get Canisius coming off a loss.
Right,
You know?
not
You don't
a
want
position anybody wants to be in, right?
Right.
So the other game, which was big, which was another out-of-conference game, and another Rochester versus Section 6 versus Section 5 team, and that was Niagara Falls losing by 1 point to East.
Yeah, I was trying to get to both of those games. It didn't end up working out for me on Saturday, but I wanted to see both of those, and turns out they were both good games. But that one especially, you know, Rochester East is a team that they're always good. They have Damani Barley, who's a Division I basketball player, and I wanted to get out and see what that team looked like, see how they looked against Niagara Falls, and it turns out I wanted to see how Niagara Falls looked against them, because Falls pushed them right to the end, and what a game they got out of Dominic McKenzie in that one. A huge double-double, like over 20 points,
25
over
points,
20
22 rebounds, it was
Yeah.
something like that, yeah.
Those are massive
Yeah,
numbers.
and they said, I mean, I know a lot of people that were there said it was one of the best performances they've seen somebody from the Section 6.
Yeah, I know head coach Carlos Bradbury was disappointed for his team and for Dom, that good of a performance, and that they were that close, and a 1 point loss. But those are the games we always say they'll make you better, and it's going to give Niagara Falls that belief, like, hey, listen, look at what we just did. Look at how we competed with this talented Rochester East team. Let's go. Second half of the season's in front of us.
And really what's most important, the sectional run, right?
Oh, all day.
Yep, absolutely. So the next one that we're going to go to, just something you wanted to talk about just from the perspective, you want to talk about South Park a little bit.
Well, I thought it was worth mentioning that South Park quietly keep picking up wins in the Yale Cup 1. They're now 5-1 in league, and they're the team that handed McKinley their only league loss. So South Park tied for first place in Yale Cup 1. They got a rematch coming with McKinley down the road. If they're able to beat McKinley a second time and keep the winning ways going, they got a shot at winning the Yale Cup.
Yeah, and you gotta love great coaching down there with South Park at the same time.
Yeah, they got Kyle Perla, who took over. He had been with Middle College for a while as an assistant. They just picked up a big win over Middle College. And
Kyle's had the opportunity to coach my kids, in fact, and he's a good kid, good coach. I'm telling you, knows his stuff, and really showing it right now by leading his own team.
Yeah, I agree. Kyle Perla is one of those guys who I would tell people about, hey, if you're looking,
And I'm sorry, I shouldn't be saying Kyle, I shouldn't be calling you a kid anymore. You're not a kid, right? And I'm comparing you to me out there, but Kyle, listen, I've been watching you grow up in the coaching ranks is what you've done. You have absolutely done some great things, and you have put everybody on notice right now with that South Park team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll see how that shakes out down the road there.
Yeah. So the last one we're going to talk to was what you've already alluded to that we were going to talk about it, and that was the Westfield versus Sherman game.
Yeah, so that was a Saturday game in the Southern Tier. Would have liked to see it, but I found some really fascinating NFL games that, kept me in my seat that night. But I was getting updates from it, and Westfield gets pushed to overtime by Sherman. Then they get pushed to double overtime by Sherman. They end up coming out with a 67-65 victory to keep themselves ranked atop the Class D ranks. Darian Swanson comes away with a career-high 34 points in the double overtime victory. And there's 4 teams in Section 6 Class D that are state-ranked. You've got Westfield, Clymer, Panama, and Pine Valley. And oh, by the way, Sherman just picked the highest ranked of that group. They just took Westfield to double overtime. So our Class D it's competitive. There's a little parity in the Class D ranks, and that makes it a lot of fun.
They always are too, right? We've got some of the best D schools in the state.
One more I just want to mention.
Sure.
Pioneer, double overtime win over Depew last week. That keeps them undefeated at 6-0 in ECIC 3. They're 10-3 on the season. Pioneer quietly rolling along. Maybe not quiet to the people in ECIC 3, but
So we're going to actually this will air after that game tonight, but we will be live at Maryville tonight, actually broadcasting Pioneer in Maryville tonight.
Yeah, I'm heading over too to get my eyes on that one.
So this will broadcast after this, but we'll see if Pioneer stays undefeated right now with a good Maryville team.
Yeah, two teams I have not seen yet this year, Maryville and Pioneer, two teams I wanted to see, and I said I'm taking tonight to get in that gym and see it.
That's great. So let's go over right now some of the big games that we're talking about for this coming week. So I'm going to include real quick the games that will happen tonight. That this you should already have hopefully the results at this point coming into the show. But Olmsted Burgard, St. Mary's St. Joe's, Cardinal O'Hara Timon, Newport Lockport, Pioneer Maryville we talked about, Riverside McKinley, St. Francis Canisius, which you've already alluded to, and then Randolph and Southwestern. That should be a great game right there.
The one out of that group that's interesting that I don't get to see tonight, it's Riverside at McKinley. You've got the Yale Cup 1, tied for Yale Cup 1 leader, and the tied for Yale Cup 2 leader going at each other in a neat little crossover. We'll see how Riverside does going and competing against a big school like McKinley.
So some big Section 6 matchups tomorrow night, though, as Sweet Home and Amherst go head-to-head. Excuse me. This is the game I think circles everybody out there. Orchard Park goes to Jamestown. Now you'll see exactly where Orchard Park stands and Jamestown stands, as these are two teams right now in the state rankings.
Orchard Park and Centercourt go to Jamestown. I think that's what's going to happen.
Say that again?
I said Orchard Park and Centercourt go to Jamestown.
So you're heading down there.
I don't want to miss that. Orchard Park and Jamestown.
I don't blame you.
You know, two undefeated teams in ECIC 1 to get it on. They're both state ranked.
I actually will be tomorrow at St. Mary's for a girls matchup, as Will South will take on St. Mary's, where we get to see Gretchen Dolan go head-to-head with Shea Shesky, two great girl basketball players we're going to get a chance to see live, too.
That's awesome.
The other games, Will East, Will South.
District rivalry.
Yep, and then Hamburg and Clarence, another AA matchup right there. Thursday, City Honors and Burgard, Newport versus Niagara Wheatfield, Southwestern at Allegheny Limestone. Here's what I think is going to be a big matchup, Salamanca Olean, right? Can't wait to see that defense right now, Olean play against that defense. And then always one of the top rivalries in Western New York, Dunkirk and Fredonia.
Am I going to have to make back-to-back Southern Tier trips?
I think you're going to have to. I think you're going to have to.
A lot of miles to be driving.
So, and then Friday, you've got Riverside Olmsted, St. Joe's and Timon. Jamestown's going to travel to Elmira for a big matchup, out-of-conference matchup. Cheektowaga Tapestry, St. Mary's Nichols, Clarence Hamburg. And then you've got the NFL versus ECIC Challenge, as CSAT will take on Frontier, Newport takes on Will South, and Niagara Wheatfield takes on Orchard Park, as the top of the NFL goes to the top of ECIC 1.
Very cool matchup there. So all three matchups are pretty cool on paper. That last one's interesting.
Will be a fun one, especially with Orchard Park coming off a game of Jamestown, to see exactly where they stand too.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, the last games, Hilton versus at Olean, Hutch Tech at Middle College, Sherman at Clymer, that big D matchup. And then to continue the NFL versus ECIC Challenge, it goes Ken East versus Depew, Lockport versus Amherst, and North Tonawanda versus Iroquois.
Yep.
So those are your big games right there for the week as we finish up segment 2 right here. Join us right now as we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back for segment 3, where we talk about the top performances that happened this week in Western New York.
We get to put a little shine on these players.
This is where we get to talk about the players even more, but they get their recognition. So thanks for joining us so far on the Royal Court Report. I'm Tom Prince, joined by Centercourt and Chad Andrews. Thank you so much for joining us so far. Here's a quick word from our sponsors, and we come back for segment 3.
I love being home.
There's nothing better than owning the perfect house to come home to. You've earned it, and we'll make it happen. Our local real estate experts and in-house team of financial professionals make buying or selling your home simple. Howard Hanna. Home happens here.
I love being home.
When it's time to sell your home, start with a visit to howardhanna.com, ranked the #1 real estate site for sellers. A few clicks will show you the sales price you can expect for your home. We can get you the most money in the quickest amount of time because we know where the local buyers are and how to reach them. So if it's time to sell your home, visit howardhanna.com today, and we'll match you with a local Howard Hanna agent to sell your home fast.
I love being home.
If you've been injured in an auto accident, large or small, call 681-4088. RES Physical Medicine and Rehab right away. If you are in pain or just sore, don't take chances. Call RES today and take advantage of their 24 to 48-hour appointment pledge. With no copays, RES will help navigate the confusing world of no-fault insurance with you, so you can concentrate on getting better. 681-4088. RES Physical Medicine and Rehab. The most important call you can make after an auto accident.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
Call 835-WOLF. Remember, you call on the Wolf. That's all you had to say. Call today.
So we are back right now for segment number 3, as we get to recognize some of the top performers in Western New York this week.
All right, here we go. Tyler Curran, 34 points, 13 rebounds, and 6 assists in a 76-54 win over Roy Hart, who we just talked about, came up with a big win over Medina. So, big win from Allegheny Limestone's Tyler Curran. Wayne Libby down at Pine Valley, 25 points in a 63-47 win over Franklinville.
Jake Fyack was down there for that game and
Yes,
said
he was.
he really likes Libby. He thinks that is a solid player, is someone to watch out for in Western New York.
Jake Fyack is where I got that intel from.
Ooh.
So, props to Jake for helping me with that. Guy we're going to get to see tonight, or we already saw if you're watching the airing, Josiah Jarasinski from Pioneer. 29 points and 19 rebounds in their double overtime win against Depew. His teammate, Dalton Jabu, 19 points and 15 assists in that one. So there's a tandem that's throwing together big-time double-doubles, big number double-doubles. Max Schneider, 37 points, 6 assists in their 10-point win over Sweet Home last week. And all reports of that one was it was a hard-fought victory. It was not an easy win going in and picking up the win at Sweet Home. I also heard the Sweet Home gym brought the energy that night, which is always great to hear. I love it when the reports of a gym and an atmosphere being awesome. Keep up that good work, Sweet Home. Keep filling the gym. Make noise.
Yeah.
Dominic McKenzie, 2 double-doubles last week. 13 points, 15 rebounds in their big win over Lockport. And then we alluded to it earlier, or talked about it. 25 points, 22 rebounds in that 1-point loss against Rochester East. So we see you working Don McKenzie over at Niagara Falls. Nick Moore, Mr. Steady, Mr. Consistent, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 75-30 win over Star Point for Amherst Nick Moore. Nick Whitfield, 18 points, 15 rebounds, and 5 dimes in that 2-point loss that Fredonia had against Southwestern.
Nick Whitfield committed this week. Did you hear that too?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Football commit. Tell him where he's going.
And I was wanting to just make it officially get it right, so I don't want to screw it up.
St. Francis.
Yep, it was St. Francis is where he is. He'll be playing Division I football, where he's actually made that announcement out on social media. I think that's awesome. I know he was starting to come on here a little bit, but he's somebody that I think we're going to hear about more in the future. He's got that, just that perfect body that you're talking about for a quarterback. the kid's athletic ability is unbelievable. Like I said, as you'll see him on the football field, on the basketball court, which you're recognizing for. I know they're going to see him on the baseball field where he can do tremendous things on the baseball field. Truly a three-sport athlete that I think St. Francis is getting someone great.
Yeah, I'm always excited for any of our athletes that get an offer, that take an offer like that, a Division I commit. That's big news, and I'm glad we get a chance to mention it. He was a Mckinley Cup finalist, correct?
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't?
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me for that.
But I'll tell you, if it was someone I know, if I was out there voting, he's somebody that, whether he wasn't, he was somebody was in heavy consideration to be there.
So for more of a casual football fan like myself to have thought that Nick was a Conley Cup finalist,
I totally understand why you did.
Well about.
Listen, this kid did some great things. He was one of our Freak of the Weeks that we named for Player of the Week too for the football field. Kid's something special.
All right, so back to these hoopsters. There's a kid at Orchard Park named Seth Jova who's having a nice season. He kept that going in a 71-38 win over Williamsville North for the Quakers, who are undefeated. 14 points, 12 rebounds, 6 blocks for Seth Jova. Adam Cha-Cha keeps it going from. That's why I pause when I say it. Adam Cha-Cha. 28 points, 10 rebounds, and Hamburg's 74-63 win over West Seneca West. Lamar Matthews, 34 points in Tapestry's bounce-back win over Sweet Home last week. So they had lost to they lost to Global Concepts, came back, picked up a big win over Sweet Home, and 34 points for Matthews in that one. I mentioned earlier, Darian Swanson had the career-high 34 in the double overtime win over Sherman, and I also mentioned earlier Justin Glover's 31 points. They got him over 1,000 for his career in the comeback win at Nichols. So that's what I got for this week's top performances. If I missed anybody, please forgive me. Like Tom said, you can always hit us up or send me if you think you've got a stat line that's worth mentioning on this show. I'd be happy to.
Especially if you're a coach. If your coach is out there, right, and you want one of your players to be recognized for some reason, get a message to us.
Right.
When I don't think I've ever said no to a coach, right, and turned something down, right? Really, seriously, coaches. If there's something you think that needs to get recognized, tell us. We want those kids recognized, and this is a great forum for us to be able to do that. So that finishes up segment 3 right here. As we get ready for segment 4, but segment 4, watch out, we got a special announcement coming in segment 4. Not only will we be doing the rankings that we could talk about here in Western New York, but Chad will tell you the 7 games that'll be a part of the Centercourt Classic this year as he makes his announcement on who is in those 7 games.
Such a good lineup this year.
Oh, love it. So thank you again for joining us so far. I'm Tom Prince, joined by Chad Andrews of Centercourt. Stay with us as we got some big announcements in segment 4.
Avoiding care can lead to worse problems. Don't delay care. We're here for you. Western New York Immediate Care provides quick, quality care for non-emergent injuries and illnesses. Go to wnyImmediatecare.com for more information.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics. Call our Buffalo office today for an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs.
We are back for the final segment of the Royal Court Report. I'm Tom Prince, joined by Centercourt's Chad Andrews. So now we're going to get into the rankings here so far. So first of all, we'll go through who's ranked in New York State by the Sports Writers Association.
New rankings came out today.
Yep, so we've got those updates that we're going to announce right here. And then you're going to get into the local rankings, large school, small school rankings, and then we'll get into our big announcement. Who are the 7 games inside the Centercourt Classic. So we'll start with AA, the state rankings. Orchard Park now ranked 13th. Jamestown ranked 19th right now in the rankings. We've only got one A team in the rankings. That's Canisius at number 14. Watch out, Health Sciences is going to get there.
Yeah, and St. Joe's, who beat them, should be in there too.
Yeah, a little shocked that there's only one team
and
there.
I would encourage everybody to take a click on the View from Centercourt at some point and check out my weekly state ranking stuff. I always like to highlight our local teams that got ranked a little bit and, you know, throw a little humor everybody's way, having fun with the state rankings, investigate the Crown Point stuff. That's some good stuff to check out.
In Class B, we got 4 teams ranked as Bishop Timon is ranked number 5, Olean number 7, which is still one of 2 unbeaten teams still left, as they're 1. Orchard Park in the AA being the other one, the only 2 unbeaten teams so far here in Western New York. We've got Nichols at number 14, and we've got St. Mary's at number 21 on Class B. Class C, Salamanca 8, Randolph 9. And then Class D, which you've alluded to already, Westfield 5, Clymer 10, Panama 13, and Pine Valley number 18. And those are the teams that are ranked inside New York State. Let's go to right now your large school rankings that are locally that you do for large school, small school.
All right, so Western New York top 10. Orchard Park sitting pretty at number 1, 9-0 on the season. Canisius, number 2. St. Joe's, number 3. St. Joe's won at St. Francis last week, who was number 4. St. Francis beat Health Sciences in their tournament, who was number 5. Health Sciences, 1-point win at Jamestown to start the year, who was number 6. Then we've got Amherst at 7, who split a season series with Williamsville East, who's sitting at number 8. Niagara Wheatfield, first place in the NFL at number 9. McKinley tied for first place in Yale Cup 1 at number 10. Jumping over to the small schools, Timon jumps back into number 1 after a couple big wins last week, 35 points over St. Mary's, 22 points at St. Francis. Number 2, Olean, 10-0 on the year, piling up wins. Number 3, Nichols. Number 4, Randolph, who split the season series with Salamanca at number 5. Number 6 is St. Mary's. Number 7, Lackawanna, and it's nice to see the rest of the pollsters finally figuring out a little Lackawanna.
I was waiting for that comment to come because we talked about it every week.
I think
he's the only one who voted for him.
Buffalo News poll this week. I'm no longer the only one voting for him, and people are actually starting to throw him some decent votes, which they should be getting. They're scoring points. They're now the leading scoring, the top scoring team in Section 6 right now. They have overtaken Williamsville East as the number 1 scoring team in Section 6.
Wow.
Number 8, Tapestry. I know they had the loss to Global. They also had the win over Sweet Home. They've got a couple other pretty noteworthy wins this year, and they're a darn good team. Number 9, Riverside, who holds a 1-point loss at Newport, who comes in at number 10 for me this week. So there's your small and large top 10s.
That's awesome. So to finish things off, you've got your announcement that you're going to make what are the 7 games, the matchups for the Centercourt Classic this year.
All right.
And when will that be?
So it is a week from Friday. So we really held this tight to the vest until we got close this year. It's Friday, February 4th, Saturday, February 5th. It's going to be at Hamburg High School. 2-day event starts Friday night with Iroquois taking on Niagara Wheatfield. Little Trey Kleitz, little TJ Robinson, Xander Fletcher, little star power.
Nick McGavro in there.
Hopefully Nick McGavro's back and firing up threes in that one. So that kicks the Classic off on Friday night, followed by the host, Hamburg, taking on Cardinal O'Hara.
Ooh, that's an interesting
So there's your Friday night. Now we jump over to Saturday. I got 5 more games on Saturday at the Classic. Beginning at noon, Saturday, February 5th at Hamburg, Nichols taking on Niagara Falls.
Ooh, I like that one.
1:45. We got Olean making the trek up north to take on Williamsville East in a rematch of what might have been the game of the year last year, a thriller.
And it could be the unbeaten on the line in that game, too.
Absolutely. We'll see how they do with Salamanca this week.
Yeah, true. We talked about that, yeah.
And whoever they play in the
Yeah.
grinder league they're in, but that's a good game.
Yep.
Williamsville East Olean, I'm excited for that.
I agree.
At 3:30, St. Joe's is going to take on Amherst. Love that game.
Another game. Ooh.
That one wraps up 5:15. We've got another team coming up from the south, Jamestown, and they're going to take a shot at Canisius.
Whoa, I like that one.
And then in the final game of the night, Saturday night at 7 p.m., it's a game that should have happened a couple years ago and the pandemic ruined it. So Health Sciences wins overall Class A, and we're about to watch them take on Rochester East, who was the overall Class A winner in Rochester. The game never got to happen. We're going to make it happen this year. 7 p.m. the Classic wraps up with Health Sciences taking on East High from Rochester, the team that just won at Niagara Falls. 5 great games on Saturday, 2 to start it off Friday. I'm super excited about this one.
Do you see that schedule for Jamestown in the next week? So they go Orchard Park, Elmira was in there, if you remember, right?
Yeah.
And now they got Canisius in there. Boy, they got the gauntlet coming up, huh?
They got a whole bunch of, it's like they're in the Monsignor Martin now, playing the gauntlet schedule.
Love that, though. That's what makes a team better. We've talked about that, and we even talked about that's the reason why Ty Parker's been doing so well, because he challenges his players, and no doubt Jamestown getting ready to do something special in sectionals.
Look at what Canisius has next week. They got St. Francis, then they got Thursday night Health Sciences, then Saturday Jamestown. St. Francis, Jamestown, Health Sciences in 1 week. That's a pretty tough week too. I love it. It's all coming together.
Could be a reason to go from that 2-1 ranking too, with a couple of big wins.
Yeah, hey, well, Orchard Park gets their chance squarely this week to prove where they stand with Jamestown, then Canisius, Jamestown. So a lot of common opponents is going to sort it all out for me.
Awesome, I love it. Well, hey, again, big week as you see. The Centercourt Classic, can't wait to see that at Hamburg. A great venue there to be able to watch some games. No doubt we got some big things coming up. It all starts tonight. You'll already have seen and hopefully watched on Western New York Athletics, Pioneer and Maryville. We've got some big matchups. You've heard it all. Take a look. Western New York basketball is front and center with some big games right now. So thank you so much for joining me again, Chad, on the Royal Court Report with Tom Prince and Chad Andrews of Centercourt. Heidi Gunther, thank you again for producing the show. Couldn't do it without you, so thank you very much. And again, everybody, have a great week, and can't wait to see some of these results come in for the basketball.
Thank you.
Even the most prepared moms experience the unexpected. When you do, we're here for you.
When you're ready to buy a home, start your search at howardhanna.com. You'll be the first to see new listings, find similar properties, and connect with a local Howard Hanna agent. Get started today at howardhanna.com.
Being home.